Hi everybody, welcome back. Glad to see you again. So today we are starting with coil work. That is our second technique in hand building, and we are making coat hangers. Let's get started. So I start with a ball of clay, double the amount that feels comfortable in your hand. Okay, from a round ball I'm squeezing the clay to something like that of a sausage shape. Right, now this is going to be the base on which the hooks will be hanging. Okay, so this is a good way to start off a big coil, and we're not going to make it too thin because the coats will be hanging quite heavy and therefore not too thin. Right, so to coil I use from the tip of my finger to the base of my palm, and I'm going forward, rolling into the table. Okay, now you can check that your diameter of the coil is more or less 5 centimeters, and so we'll know that the coat hanger base will be strong enough. Can keep on rolling into the table. Also makes it quite easier if you stand. If you're struggling getting a flip-flop, just close your eyes and think rolling into the table. Right, now this strong part where my palm is firm, I'm going to press down and create a flat surface for the hooks to be joined. Okay, there we go. Keep flattening side to side. You can even use the palm area here, push down into the table and create a flat surface for the coat hooks. Okay, now how far must I press down? Shouldn't be thinner than 8 millimeters, alright? So think about just a little bit less than a centimeter. That's now for the width here. Okay, keep pressing down. Very nice trick. Use an old bank card to neaten your clay and compress. You can wet it a little bit so it slides easier over the clay. There we go. Side to side. It's okay if you go over the edge a bit. We're gonna cut it straight with a knife. And so for the other side too. And flatten that base. This is a shortcut for making a long strip of clay. Shortcut. But we'll get to slab work eventually, because this is a coil that just turned into a slab. Right. Now I take the kitchen knife. I'm gonna cut it straight. Of course you can choose any shape or edge form, but I'll just keep it neat for today. Cut off. Right, it's still a bit thick, so I'm going to keep on flattening then again. Keep flattening. Doesn't have to be, see, it's about 4 fingers wide, right? So that's good. Nice and strong, yes. Press down. And then we'll compress again. Neatening the base of our coat hanger. Want it nice and smooth. Checking for air pockets. Okay, so if you get an air pocket, it looks like a little, almost like a pimple in the clay. So there it is. I poke forward, lift up, right, with a needle or your toothpick, and then I close the gap. Okay, keep smoothing. It's quite important if you see those air pockets to close, to pop them and close up, because they might give you severe problems later. No stress, we're working with paper clay, so most of the air pocket space will be closed with paper. Right, just neatening again. There we go. Cut straight. Makes it easier to cut if you wet your knife. The clay is a bit easier to work with when it's not stuck to a dry area or surface. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna let that rest. Now for the hooks. Here are some hooks I've prepared earlier. Different shapes. Get a hook like this. It's going straight and the coat or the scarf can hang over. Standard hook, almost like a candy stick. And a hook like that. Good, so let me show you how to make those. Small balls of clay. I'm gonna roll my coil front to back into the table, It's very important that your coil doesn't dry while you're rolling. So if you're working on canvas, just spray the surface a bit so the clay doesn't get dried out. Okay, I'm gonna stand and roll into the table. The width of this coil can be that of your thumb, the thickness of your thumb, thickness of your coil. After rolling, you might get folds like that. Just cut them off and neaten the coil. Extra clay back into the bag. Right, so here's a coil. Now I am going to bend it. Right, here's the bend. I'm going to bend the coil, and I need to do that slowly and steady but firmly. Right, there we go. You can also measure it to be in proportion with your base. Perhaps have it to the side, let it come over, and if you see it's too long, let it lie on its side and cut. Right, if you get cracks here in the fold, use your finger and smooth them up. Old person skin on the inside, just wipe that with your finger and smooth. Okay, so there I've got one hook so long. Next hook, this is a bit of a longer coil because it's going all around, and therefore I use a bit of a bigger ball of clay. From the tip of my finger to the base of my palm, I'm rolling into the table, into the table, into the table. Okay, the action of moving forward is you press, and when you come back, you're just lifting up. Okay, rolling, thinking about it, rolling into the table, into the table, into the table, until the thickness of my coil is similar to the thickness of my thumb. Rolling forth and back and forth and back till I get the right thickness. Okay, rolling coils takes practice, so if it's not right, don't use it. It needs to be a neat coil. If it's not right, don't use it, redo it. Rather redo it and be happy with it than regret. Okay, cutting off those sides to neaten it. Extra clay back into the bag. Alright, now I'm folding halfway, bringing these ends together, pressing them together, and now I'm lifting up by holding the clay here and slowly bringing this clay up. Here I can see cracks forming, so I'm just going to use my finger and maybe a little bit of water and smooth. Okay, you can rather cut on the base, this area, if it's too long. First make sure that the hook is right. Keep smoothing if you find any cracks, and if it's too long, by measuring, you can check it's too long. Yes, then I cut here on the end. Right, now when you let this hook rest, to become leather hard, support it with a sponge, perhaps 2 sponges if necessary. Okay, that's how you're going to let it rest before you join it. There we go. And because I wear maybe 2 coats in the winter, thinner and a thicker one, just going to make an extra hook, and let's do this hook. Alright, so you can see the difference between these bends. This curve is a bit wider and this curve is a bit stronger. Alright, so again, rolling your coil from tip to base of your hand, forward, into the table, back lifting, into the table and back, into the table and back, into the table and back. If you hear flip-flopping, just close your eyes and think you're rolling into the table. Okay, the width of your coil is that of your thumb, so I can just keep rolling until I'm at the right width. Okay, a neat coil. A neat coil is also a strong hook. Right, now I'm bending. I am bending the clay, and again, if you see any cracks, just use a little bit of water and smooth in that area. It's quite important not to roll too long so that the clay doesn't dry while you're rolling. Your hands are also absorbing water from the clay. So roll, finish, bend, neaten. Okay, so there we go. And I can cut. If it's too long, let me double check my measuring. Yes, that seems right. Okay, so these are my hooks, and letting them rest to get leather hard before I join. And remember for joining, so first back out your hooks. Still support them even though they're quite leather hard. Leather hard means what leather feels like. Okay, it's okay. And here I just got a straight coil, gonna put it there. Remember that this coat hanger will be hooked to the wall, mounted to the wall, so we need holes on the sides. Okay, and give your the hole, give it space from the edge of the base. Mark it in line, mark it. Right, now I'm using the back of a brush, wet it and push through right down until you're gone through. If I make the holes before I join the hooks, I'm sure that I'm not putting a hook where the hole should have been, right through. Right, now for every hook, I'm marking before I'm gonna score and join the parts together. Right, can also mark on the hook so I know until where to score. There we go, and at the back. Okay, now crisscross, not tickling your clay, really getting in there. Crisscross, so we're opening the clay, putting water in between and forming a join. Okay, also on the back of my hook. There we go, and to the opposite direction. And so for every hook I shall score before I join. And these pieces are leather hard. Alright, that means what leather feels like, that's the hardness of the clay. You can also call it cheese dry. So what mozzarella or cheddar cheese feels like, that's what the clay feels like now. Not going to bend it because it can still break. To the opposite direction. And so for this strange little hook, score in the opposite direction. Okay, now wet my clay. Here I got some slurry. So slurry is dried clay that's become powder, which I ground very fine, put it back into water, let it stand, and use that if you're going to have a very heavy, strong bond. Okay, there I go. Push down to join. If you see here the shiny area, that's the slurry or water coming out. Good thing, because you know your join is strong then. I'll do so for every area that I scored, and perhaps on the hook as well. You can choose if you want to have which hook where, that's up to you. Give it some space in between so that when the piece of material is hanging from here, it's not clogged up, and have enough space so you can take it off without dropping something else that's on the coat hanger. So if you're not using slurry, it's not the end of the world. It's just an extra strong bond now. And if you use enough slurry, you can use that to strengthen my joint. This one could also be for keys. You're gonna have everything together. There we go. All I need to do now is roll a very thin coil. This one I can roll in between my hands and place it in that join. There we go. And work it in, halfway up, halfway down. And so for the rest of the coat hanger. Can't pick it up. Don't pick it up until it's completely dry. Okay, that was fun. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.